It's absolutely extraordinary. And, I mean, as I said, it's never happened before, and it's, in a way, unimaginable. When you think of the quite boring, if we're being honest, royal family doing about their duties very well, and everybody's cheered up if they come to open a hospital or your school or whatever it may be. This throws an absolute bomb into the whole idea of the monarchy.
Well, we have just in the last few moments received a statement from King Charles himself on the arrest of Andrew. Here it is in full. I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. Charles R. Astonishing. So that's a statement from the King himself on the news of the arrest of his own brother. Terry, I mean, playing that extremely carefully.
Yes, very careful. Very careful to say, it's important that full, fair, proper process has to be followed. Reiterating again the King's full and wholehearted support for the police investigation, the appropriate authorities. But interesting there that he also mentions, as he signed off, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. So very much stressing that for the rest of the royal family, they see duty and service as the most important thing. And obviously, the current story is detracting from all the normal duties that they do.
Just to recap, we have just in the last few moments had a statement from the King on the arrest of Andrew, in which he says, I guess the top line is, he says, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course." Let's get a bit of historical context here, because as we've been reporting, Andrew has indeed been arrested. The former prince, he turned 66 today. He has previously denied any wrongdoing in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, but we are joined now by the historian Ian Wilson. He's back in the studio. Hello.
Hi, Hugo.
Good morning. Thanks for being with us. What did you hear that statement from the King?
I did indeed, yes.
What did you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think it's really good news. It just reminds us that nobody in this country is above the law. And to that extent, whatever the outcome of all this extraordinary catalogue of events, it's really good news to be reminded of that, surely. And I also thought obviously the King had to say that, but I thought it was quite well phrased, that statement.
Presumably in the past, when there was any danger of somebody like the King's brother being arrested, the only person who was going to do that was the King.
Also, if you mean in the extreme past, yes.
Yes.
But in more recent past, they'd have just hushed this kind of thing up, wouldn't they? I mean,
right.
If this had happened to one of Queen Victoria's sons, who are a pretty bad lot, some of them, it would have all been hushed up.
Well, they'd have nobbled the British press. They'd have nobbled the Americans.
Exactly. We didn't go into it, but there were various scandals relating to Queen Victoria's grandchildren, which were all hushed up. They were mainly sex scandals. But if this sort of thing had happened, and there was a great deal of skullduggery, they wouldn't have been arrested.
Perhaps the Victorians were just better than us at dealing with...
They were better at hypocrisy, but I don't want to live in a country which is run by hypocrites anyway.
Well, I'm better at dealing with emails, perhaps.
They're certainly better at that.
Is there any precedent for this? I mean, where do we find precedent?
No, there's no precedent for it. It's quite extraordinary.
But there must have been royals who've tangled with the law in some sort of way.
Oh, yes. I mean, if you think... the man who might have been the King of England if Queen Victoria had died in childbirth, there's this awful uncle she had who was called Ernest, Duke of Cumberland, who became the King of Hanover. Right. And, he had almost certainly murdered his butler. He laid claim to most of the crown jewels, and funnily enough, in a very, very long protracted court case, he got them back. And he was a semi-criminal oaf.
So to understand his... I guess, constitutional position now. He's been stripped of his titles by the King, but he's still in the line of succession.
Yes, he is.
How far along is he?
Is he about 8th, I think?
Something like that.
It would need a cataclysm, which we don't want.
You've got to go through all the Williams and all the Harrys.
You've got the Williams and Harrys. You've got to do that, and the children. So we don't want that.
Do you think he should be removed from the line of succession? Can he be removed?
In an ideal world, he would have been, but I'm not sure how easy that is.
The kind of the arc of this story, the way that in really just a few short weeks he's gone from a huge grace and favour home to a smaller one, and now to a police cell. This is like this is sort of this feels less like history and more like fiction.
It's absolutely extraordinary, and I mean, as I said, it's never happened before, and it's in a way unimaginable when you think of the quite boring, if we're being honest, royal family doing about their duties very well, and everybody's cheered up if they come to open a hospital or your school or whatever it may be. This throws an absolute bomb into the whole idea of the monarchy.